Hello, everyone. It's Cassandra Williamson. How are you today? Sorry that I'm a little bit late. I have been out on the road, but right for the past several minutes, I've been fixing a lunch for my mom and brother and sister. It was, let me see, a Jack Daniels flavored barbecue, pork, and um, coleslaw on a sandwich, on a bun, I should say. So, yeah, that's what I've been doing, and I'm still got the fries. Just got the fries out too. But I have been out on the road this morning and been looking around all kinds of different places. I was out delivering some things for Walmart and with the Spark app. And if you're looking for ways to make money, make a little extra money to help out a little bit, you can make a couple of $100 a week easily on this with Spark. If that's what you need and you need to find a way to make a little extra money to get the things that you want or to fill in gaps or whatever you've got in your budget, then this is definitely a way to do it. I was doing DoorDash for a little while, but boy, Spark was a lot better. Last week, I think, what was it? I brought 307 home, and part of it is tips. So guess what? Under this administration, this current administration, those tips are tax free. I like that, actually. So yeah, the tips are tax free, are not taxed, and I know that they do keep them calculated separately in their on their app through the Spark. So I was talking to a friend this morning. Where was this? Oh, I did some had to go do the shopping at Walmart too for one particular order. So on the way out the door, I said, okay, here's the Spark app. This is all the stuff in the buggy and everything. And that Coke is mine. It's right there. And he said, so you're sparking. I said, yeah. I actually prefer the old meaning for that word, like sparking. Hope you don't mind me eating. Oh, I have to stop a minute. A little bit hungry. So I got to drive to Phelps in Pike County, Kentucky, and on the way back, since I was not doing something at the time, I was able to film several little clips, like three or four different little clips, 5, 6, 7 minutes long or something like that. And it was along the route coming back. You come out of Phelps on the road, State Road 194, you're going toward West Virginia, you turn off Pounding Mill Road and go over the mountain and down through Peter Fork towards Blackberry, Kentucky, and you get out there and you go left and go up to where they had the hog warfare. Remember that film, of course, huge stuff. The old post office, and go to Hardy. Then my next stop was out. I picked up some stuff and went up through Del Barton, through Williamson to Del Barton, and gone over a couple of mountains there, Billy Goat Mountain, all kinds of ATV stuff out there. I mean, it's everywhere. You ought to check it out sometime if you're looking for something to do and you have the resources to be able to pull it off. But yeah, there are resorts, ATV style resorts on these trails in different places. So you ought to check it out sometime. That's the big thing around here. And it's all over the place. So I went through Del Barton and I went up 52. I think it's 52. Yeah, 52 up to through Taylorville, West Virginia, out of Del Barton through Taylorville, West Virginia, past Birch High School, and another 10 miles up the road from there to Murphy. Was it Murphy Bottom? Murphy Bottom, I think, maybe. Got to talk with a young lady and her son as I was dropping off some stuff with them. It was just very brief and, cordial, respectful, nothing extraordinary. On the way there, I did pass a road sign, a little sign that was the name of a street. The street was named the Robert E. Lee Road. Yeah. that means exactly what you think it would mean. But, I did think about going out there and saying hi, but I didn't because it's just a road and I don't know how many other houses are out through there. But, this is, it's very fascinating. There's a lot of beauty in these hills around here. The raw and natural beauty of this place is stunning to me because I never saw that when I was growing up here. The first 17, 18 years of my life were spent here, the very first ones, formative years. And I had no idea that it was this picturesque. So, yeah, Junior, you're right. I mean, four-wheelers are popular all over the place. And up here, you got the real expensive ones. You could buy a car with what you pay for these things up here. But yeah, it's a. Let me see what you say. They don't ride on trails; they ride on the road, which is illegal. But the local sheriff will not go after them. Yeah, that some states are like that. Here though, Kentucky and West Virginia, Mingo County and Pike County, and the different parts of Kentucky and West Virginia where all these trails are located around here, you can get a permit to go on the trails, and the permit allows you to ride on the roads as long as you abide by the rules of the road and you're wearing a helmet or something. You can take your ATV out and your dirt bike out onto the main road. So 4 lanes and everything around here. They come off the mountains and head for McDonald's or go to Tudor's Biscuits or go to the local Mexican restaurants. All of them. You find those ATVs all over the place, but it's accepted in that regard here because they've worked out deals. The trail systems have worked out deals with the officials, the police officials in both states. So they're not going to go after them. As a matter of fact, they invite them all in. They'll pile up around the sheriff's department or the police station in Williamson and the fire department. And I mean, they're everywhere. And you go, look at all of that. It's a sea of stuff around here. Yeah. I used to play in the woods behind my house. We also used to go hiking and participated in scouting. So I was aware of the environment since the age of 9. Yeah. So yeah, me too. Dad was a scoutmaster, and we got to do a lot of different things. We hiked all over the east coast of the U.S., different trail systems all over the place, and went to camp 3 summers of my high school year. Went to camp over in West Virginia, and it was a good time. It was really good. I mean, I enjoyed it. It got me away from the home. I got to go over to hang out at the camp and run. By the time I was a senior or whatever in high school, I was basically running the camp, running the store, and making sure people were safe in the pool and all of that kind of stuff. And, just a camp counselor kind of person at the time. It was a lot of fun. I didn't go as far as my brother did. My brother actually made it all the way into Eagle Scout, which was a big deal. I never did. I couldn't deal with being in Dad's scout troop. For a while, I had to get away from that, and ended up going to Williamson to be part of a troop down there. And then there's some other stories about that. I can't get into that right at the moment. Yeah, there's a few bad things that happened on that scout troop. That scoutmaster actually went to jail for child molestation. Yeah. So, changing the topic to something else, I did stop on top of a mountain that separates Peter Fork from Pounding Mill Road. Had to let some traffic by, but you sit up on top of this mountain and I drove around in a circle kind of thing and show what it was like looking down Pounding Mill over towards Edgerton, West Virginia, and Freeburg, Kentucky, down that mountain towards that direction. And on the other side, it's one down towards Blackberry. And it's really, really very idyllic, I think. It surprises me even because it does not, I don't recall any of that growing up. Maybe just, I don't know. It was a lot different back then. I mean, there were coal trucks, coal mines, truck mines, dust and dirt everywhere on all the trees and roads. And you just, anytime you stepped outside to go play in the woods or whatever, or just to go hang out somewhere, you were breathing in coal dust and anthracite, and it got into your system pretty heavily. So, yeah, it was a challenging place back then, but I spent most of my time in the local library down in Williamson, and the school library at Belfry High. I just went. I mean, that's where I lived there, and I was going to college while I was in high school in the evenings. So, you know, I knew that I had to get a way out. But now that I'm back here to take care of mom, brother, sister, and other family members, it's, you know, I see it differently. Maybe it's just my perception or my way of looking at things now. But yeah, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. There are some things getting ready to happen in the next year or so where I met with it was an unintentional meeting. We just met in the hallway at the Pike County Courthouse, and Darrell Pugh, who is the county clerk, is getting ready to run an election for 26 for seating in 27. And they're going back to the magistrate system here in Pike County. They used to have it, but they did away with it, and now they want to go back to it. So those spots are up for election, and Darrell and I were talking for a few minutes, looking at a map of how it's all going to be laid out. And he asked us, "So are you registered to vote around here?" I said, "Yep, yep." And they said, "Well, you might want to think about running. What district are you in over there? The new districts?" And I showed him where I was at on the map, And he said, "Well, that one's pretty heavily Republican. Voted Trump completely, just about." But then he pulled out all the charts and stuff and the data. And it turns out there are more registered Democrats here in this district than there are registered Republicans. But yes, they did vote for Donald Trump. And that's not surprising because I'm the only person in the House here who would have voted for Harris, who did vote for Harris. Everybody else is a Trump supporter, which is fine. That doesn't bother me in the least, And whenever we let those kind of things bother us and get under our skin, then we're unable to function in the society, in the overall society, and we aren't doing justice to that. So Darrell asked me, and we were talking and all this, and he said, "So you want thinking about running?" I said, "Well," he said, I hope you think about running. It'd be good to have you on." And he said, "By the way, which party would you be interested in?" Because I know he's a Republican. And I said, "Well, look, I was the county chairperson for a Republican party down in Texas when it made sense for me to go down there and do that. And it was an elected position, and I was there. But I will be running as a Democrat here if I decide to do that. So I'm thinking about it. I don't know. It'd be fun to do. Just to try or get out there. There's some things that I know need to be done, and I have been up some hollers. I have been up some hollers in this district, that is for sure, and this county even, and in Mingo County. So there's a lot of debate that I have to figure out how to go about doing. Okay, since high school and after, I was thought of as a big goof because of the humor I inject into various serious tasks, which I have been beset with my entire life and mostly been successful. Good. Well, I was, I could see how people would carry those kind of things over with you. They always thought of me as being professorial. More than anything, I was a nerd in a big way. I didn't hang out with people at school. I didn't like them. I didn't want to associate with them. And, it was not that I didn't like them. It was just I couldn't understand them. They didn't understand me, and I didn't understand them, and I never even tried to. There was no point in it for me because, one, I knew who I was, and I knew I was running from who I was, and I was trying to hide. So I could hide in the library, stick my head in the book. Did it at the high school, did it at the community college where I went to college at night. Yeah, did it when I was just driving through Williamson. I'd go to the Williamson Public Library and meet the librarian. Her name was Miss Henry. Miss Henry was there the whole time I would be in there. And for the 4 years or so, 6 years, I would go visit in the library. And it was, that was my escape. I think I probably read just about every darn thing there in the library. Because I sure didn't much. Well, I did try one time to kind of find a way to fit in. I think I was a senior in high school, and so I knew where everybody, all the people like to go park. As they rode around town in their vehicles, they would park at certain places. One of them was the newspaper office, and behind that, or in the loading dock. Another one was in the parking lot of Westcott's lumber supply and hardware place store, no longer open. And the building's there, I think. Yeah, the building is there, but yeah, we'd all hang out right there. At least the one time that I went around town. I had bought myself, that's the only time in the history that I actually smoked. So I bought a pack of cigarettes and a box of matches, and I pull into that parking lot, and looking to the left and to the right, all these people were smoking their little cigarettes. They were going, hanging them up there, making themselves look like they're something, Yeah, whatever they did, however they did that, I don't know. But I opened that pack of cigarettes up, and I noticed that they all tapped it down for some reason. I had no idea what that was all about. I really didn't. And I knew that Dad did it. I knew that my brother did it. I knew that everybody around me was doing it, so I did it. I pulled out one of those cigarettes and stuck it in my mouth, and I lit that thing with that match and inhaled as deeply as I could. I went, I'm going to tell you, I about died. That was probably the best thing I ever did right there. I about died. I mean, I couldn't breathe. It was horrible. It's horrible. So, being me, I grabbed that pack of cigarettes I'd just purchased, crushed them in my hand, and dropped them out the window. I went, poosh, along with a box of matches. And then I waved on both sides, and I said, I'll see y'all later. That is not worth all of that. There is no way. Oh, my gosh. Good times back here in the hills. We always romanticize parts of the past, not all of it. There are some things I do not, absolutely do not. But there's another big thing that's today, too, and I just want to give a shout out to my middle daughter, Kara. Kara Lachey turns 37 today. She is my middle daughter. So at some point in time or sees this, happy birthday to my amazing daughter, Kara. And you're such a wonderful mom and a hard worker, and you're into weightlifting now, or at least exercising in the gym. And I mean, just so proud of everything that she has accomplished. And she and her husband and my other daughter, youngest daughter, all work for the University of Alabama. So they're there, and they live in Northport across the river from the university, but they've been working there for quite a few years. And so I'm very proud of my daughter, and happy birthday, Kara. I love you. And hopefully I get the chance to come down and see everybody again here. I'm not sure when, because obviously this is the priority at the moment is taking care of mom and my brother and sister, and being here for my cousin. So with that, I'm going to call it a day. Come back at 6 this evening. I might even talk about something different tonight. Who knows?